So, rule number one, whenever I crack a joke, if you do not feel like laughing, please at least clap for me. If my joke is so bad that you don't understand it, I will tell you that was supposed to be a joke. Then you can clap. Alright, before we begin with the presentation, the workshop on evaluations, I want to make an announcement. In case if you are wondering, the picture on the flyer against my name is me, that is me actually. At one point in time, in my life I had hair. Now somebody is listening to me. I have some attention. 10% of the audience is with me this morning. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the organizers, Area 76, as well as Division A. A very warm welcome to all of you this morning. Are there any non-Toastmasters in the audience? You surprise me, my friends. I thought only Toastmasters like us were crazy to wake up on a Friday, come to Majestic Hotel and listen to 2 hours of how to improve our skills. But thank you very much once again. Yes, most welcome. I'm sure the next workshop you will not be non-Toastmasters. Evaluations. I'm a great fan of evaluations in Toastmasters. One thing I've observed, which I always stress and reiterate, the difference between evaluation as we know in Toastmasters and evaluations in the outside world is that in Toastmasters we don't just look at what was good and what was not good. We take on to what was not good and talk about how to improve it the next time we do that same activity. And that's why in Toastmasters, evaluations are the core element of the educational program. You will notice, although we are going to talk about evaluations of speeches right now in this workshop, you will notice that in Toastmasters, every single thing we do is evaluated. We evaluate prepared speeches, we evaluate impromptu speeches, we evaluate table topic masters, we evaluate grammarians, master of ceremonies, we evaluate evaluators also. Right? We even evaluate those things which are not generally considered important. Sometimes we evaluate timers, how well we noted down the timings of the meetings. Right? So evaluations, in my opinion, are the stepping stone to progress. They are the stepping stone to improving oneself the next time we do the same activity. Also, evaluations give us an opportunity to share knowledge and experience. An evaluator, by evaluating the speaker, is sharing his experience and his knowledge, not only with the speaker, but also with the audience. So the speaker learns and the audience also learns. Clear? It's also a learning experience for the evaluator himself. I believe in 2 ways. One, while he's evaluating the speaker, he's improving his listening skills, his evaluating skills, and when he reports his feedback, his speaking skills too. And in another way, every opportunity that we all take as evaluators, we would learn something from the speaker. Either it could be the content of the speech, which could be valuable, the speech value could be valuable, or something which the evaluator himself is not adept at. It could be anything, it could be body language, vocal variety, eye contact, any aspect that the evaluator himself is weak in, he could learn from the speaker. So it's a two-way learning experience. Now this slide, I don't know why it is here actually. How to evaluate. It doesn't give you much information, but I kept it because my good friend Meenakshi Sundaram felt that it should be there. I still don't know why he wanted this slide to be there. But in this workshop, it is my endeavor and task to communicate why we evaluate in Toastmasters, which we've just seen, What do we evaluate and how? And the how is the most important aspect here. How do we evaluate anything that we evaluate in Toastmasters, may it be speeches or anything else? Now here, in this slide, we are assuming that we are talking in this workshop about evaluating prepared speeches. And that's why the first, the most important, and the very, very relevant point here is to understand the speech objectives or the project objectives. Whenever you evaluate a speech from a manual, it's a project speech, to understand the objectives of the speech or the project is extremely important for the evaluator to do justice to the speaker. How many of us, and please be honest here because I've done this many times, how many of us have reached the venue of the meeting, taken the manual from the speaker, and only looked at the last page of the project, which is a questionnaire for the evaluator, and not looked at the first 2 or 3 pages, which describes what the speaker is supposed to do? I am raising both my hands. How many of us have done it? I know more than the number of hands that have done it, but I have done it many times and I have felt very bad about it. In order to do justice to the speaker, you need to understand the complete objectives of the project, not just the evaluator's guide, which is a questionnaire on the last page. Make a checklist of points. Now, although the evaluation guide in the manual is a good reference for you to understand what to look for in the speaker's performance, you must make your own checklist. We will look at a separate slide of checklist points, but I want to make a very, very significant point here. A checklist for an evaluator is different every time. And a checklist for an evaluator for the same speaker could be different in different people. So, for example, Toastmaster Balraj could have his checklist for a certain project, which could be completely different from what I may think is important. So you need to create your own checklist of points before the evaluation starts, before the speech is delivered. Go through the speaker's manual and see the remarks made by previous evaluators. This may not be very important in some cases, but in some cases it may be. So if you look at the previous project evaluations, you might find out certain important points which you need to look for in the speaker's presentation, which you can also mention in your report. And finally, the personal objectives of the speaker. What does the speaker himself want to achieve in that particular presentation or speech? What is his objective? Maybe, for example, he is doing project number 5. But he remembers that when he was doing the project for organization, which is earlier on, he had not done a particularly great job. And he wants the evaluator to also look at that aspect of his performance. Or body language particularly, or vocal variety. Any specific objectives that the speaker wants to achieve in that presentation, also you must ask the speaker and note that down and look for that when you're listening to the speech. So these are the points you need to keep in mind before the speech even starts. Are we ready to look at the checklist? Checklist to evaluate with 8 points. Once again, speech objectives is right at the top. Why is it at the top? Because it is the most important aspect. It is the one thing that is your guide, your direction to a successful evaluation and to do justice to the speaker and his performance. Some of the other things in the checklist are pretty much what we all know in the order in which they come in our CC manual. From organization, anybody wants to guess what OBC means?
Opening body closure.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Opening body closure.
Very good. If I was giving this presentation in a remote village in my country, I would have been stoned. Luckily, I'm here amongst friends. Thank you. Body language, any guesses what GEC means?
Emotions, eye contact.
Yeah, emotions is a new one for me. But yeah, you're right. Gestures and eye contact.